Good morning. I hope you guys are doing well on this beautiful, beautiful Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers. You guys are some awesome people. And I hats off to you for everything that you do. I hope that you spend this day being pampered and treated by your family. And just know that we are grateful for the role that you all play. And I hope you enjoy this day. All right. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at Eurnzd. I haven't looked at this pair, I don't think, in a while with you guys. And so I'm just going to do my technical analysis and technical markup. If you're looking for something more fundamental, make sure you check out the No Cost Forex Facebook Mastermind group. My moderator, Andrea, does a phenomenal job of breaking that information down. But today, what we're going to do is just walk through the technicals of this. So if you're new to the channel, you're not really familiar with my style, how I work, I do a technical approach to the market where I basically go into the charts. I identify high probability areas where price has the potential to reverse. And so that is what I've done here. Let me take that off. That is what I've done here. And I start off on the highest time frame, right? So I'm on the monthly. And I go in and I look for these highs and these lows. That's the first step, right? So we start off on the higher time frame. We look for high probability areas where price has a potential to reverse, and then we mark those off so that we know as we continue to drill down where those key levels are. So now I'm using a platform that allows me to see if I've chosen the right levels. And you'll see that all of the levels that I've chosen to level 6 have been highlighted by the system. So over here, they popped up S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6. So I'm good there. Now I'm going to check just to make sure that I've gotten the resistance. And so I'm going to turn on smart resistance and we're good too. I've chosen the exact ones. Now I like this because sometimes I might be moving a little quick. I'm rushing and I miss. And, you know, when you miss levels, that can be very, very impactful to your overall analysis. Okay. So I'm going to go down to the weekly. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the same thing that I just did. I'm looking for the key levels where price has the potential to reverse. And so I'm identifying those levels by marking them off in blue and making a note of where they are. Now, the last time that I looked at Eurnzd with you guys, I think it was last year. I want to say in like maybe November, I think. And that had a really big move. So we're hoping for the same thing this time, that we get some big movement off of this pair. Okay, so it's identifying this past low as a low. I'll go ahead. I'll mark it off for now, but I don't think that we're going to stay that way for long. All right. So I'm done on the weekly. I'm going to go down to the daily. And guess what? I'm about to do the same thing that I just did. So we got a level here. And I know a lot of people like well, I won't say a lot of people. Some people don't get my style of analysis and they look at the chart and they're like, girl, what is going on? Like, I don't know what you have on the chart. I don't know how to read this. And I get it. If you are unfamiliar with my approach to the market, I strongly recommend that you go and you take a look at the No Cost mini course. It's going to break down a few things that will probably provide more insight into how I move in the market, so that you can understand the videos a lot better. So I'm going to the 4 hour and I'm doing the same thing. Now I know you're like, okay, we done figured out all these levels. Girl, now what? What happens now? Give me a second. I'm going to take you through it. Just 1 minute. Okay. All right, I think so. I'm good up there. I'm just checking my 4 hour down here, and y'all will be surprised. Like, if you mark up these charts and you just let the levels sit and you watch how price moves against them, you'll be able to see that these areas that we pick in are not just lines to be putting on a chart. You'll see how price respects them, and kind of playing out from there. Okay, so as a swing trader, I was supposed to say as a string trader, as a swing trader, the lowest time frame that I really go to find my setups are going to be the 4 hour. So when I say swing trader, you know, I like setups that are long term because I lead such a busy daily life. I don't have the time to sit and find setups on a short term basis. I just can't do it. So what I do is I look for longer term setups. I identify them, and a lot of people ask, like, why don't you set, like, can we see you execute a live trade? Well, that would be probable if I traded shorter term setups. But a lot of times when I find my setups, price is not near where it needs to be executed. So I take the information that I know as far as the criteria that I'm looking for in order to execute, and I set limits and I set stops. If you don't know what a limit is, if you don't know what a stop is, again, go to the mini course. I break it down, but they are mechanisms that will allow you to tell MT4, hey, I want to enter this setup when price comes to this level. And I break down in detail limit, stops, how they work, all that good stuff for you in that video. But those have been lifesavers as far as chaining me to a device or a computer. I don't have to do that, you know. So, okay. So now that we've done that, what I want to see is how we are moving and where we are in the Fibonacci sequence. So again, if you're new, I love Fibonacci. That is the way that I trade. And so it's a tool that's combined. It's a retracement and extension. And simply put, it tells you where to get in and where to get out. When I tell you it's like the Holy Grail, it's the Holy Grail. Okay. And so I want to see where we fall in the Fibonacci sequence. So in Smart Trader, I'm going to go over to my Smart Tools and I'm going to look at the last low and I'm going to deploy my fib. And so what I've done is grab the Smart Fib. I've gone below the last low and deployed. And what it does is it deploys the fib based off of how the candles have presented themselves and gives you the information that you need. And if you are unfamiliar with Fibonacci, the mini course will break it down for you. But essentially, it's telling you where to get in, where to get out. Now, this might not mean much to you because you don't know how to read it. But what this is telling me is that this Fibonacci formation, this sequence right here, is still active. And so we had a low back in 22 at 158822. We formed a high in October of that year. Price really moved, and then formed a 618 monthly support retracement and took off from there. And so for the last a year and a half, we've been moving to the upside on Eurnzd, finding monthly resistance this past August, and then kind of just moving to the side from there. The ultimate target, based on how price has moved here, is I anticipate that price will break above at some point 1.86035. But this information is good for me to know on the overall time frame. What I'm going to do now, because I marked off that higher take profit, I'm going to go down to the weekly and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm looking at where price is and what I need to be doing. So we end up with a very, not the similar, I was about to say we ended up with a very similar thing, but looking at this, we don't have the similar setup. So on this fib, and I will go from the higher time frame fib, but what I anticipate is that we're probably going to see a deeper retracement. So we have an A low, a B high, we have a 38.2 pullback. Price did not have enough momentum to break through that key resistance level. And so it's starting to break down. How do I know it's starting to break down? If I look at this trend line, and I'm just going to double check that I have drawn this correctly. That is not what I'm looking for. I probably got to go down to the lower time frame. But let me clean this up just a little bit. And I can't get it to move. But if I look like price has broken through this downtrend line, and it started to move to the downside. Now we do have a monthly and a daily and weekly support level around 173, 174. That price would have to break through in order to get that deeper retracement, but I'm still interested in what we're doing to the downside. So that's the weekly, and I'm looking at it based off of the ultimate target on a higher time frame is this 1856, 1858, and I know off of a 38.2 the take profit is at 194, but the ultimate target on the higher time frame. So my thought is that we're going to see price move to the downside, at least to this level here, this monthly level, before we see it make a move up. But that's my quick analysis. I'm going to keep drilling down. And so I'm going to go down to the daily. And guess what I'm about to do? Deploy my fib, my smart fib. Click below the lowest point. Click above. Okay, that don't tell me a whole lot. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Where are we at in the current sequence right now? Right? So on the daily, you see how this D extension, this take profit, I should say your take profit is lined up with the higher time frame take profit too. So we may not, looking at this, we may not make it well, we could on the higher time frame. Okay. So I see here that my D extension aligns with the higher time frame, that monthly level at 1.8, just a little bit above, but it's in the same zone. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drop a line. I'm going to drop a line, and hold on. If I actually dropped a line. Okay. And price has not hit that extension, so this fib is still active. Okay, so what I want to see though is, because we've broken a line on higher time frame, I'm trying to get this fib to delete it off the chart. Give me a second, y'all. There we go. Okay, so I want to look to the downside. Okay. And I may have to go. Here we go. So looking to the downside, and the reason I look to the downside is because we've broken that trend line to the downside. So to me, that tells me that price is moving down, right? And so if I look at this setup here, we have a high, a B low, we had a shallow pullback, right? Less than 38.2. We pushed up to the 618, and then price, of course, broke above that, and now price has hit the 181378, so the green level, 86. And so I imagine that we're going to 118, but again, we have monthly, daily, weekly levels of resistance or support that price would have to break through. So looking at this, to reach this target to the downside, if price took off from where it is, we have about 500 pips to the downside, almost 600. And then to ultimately get to that level that I was talking about, 169, which would still, that's about 925 pips to the D extension, which on a higher time frame is that deeper retracement that we talked about. So now it's figuring out, how do I get into this? How do I take advantage of this higher time frame move? This is a daily chart. You know, what do I do with the information that you've given me, Casey? So I'm going to click on the downside fib. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to first is I want to draw out my trend lines. So I'm just going to go to the lowest point, and then I'm going to click from there. And then we're going to go down to the 4 hour, and we're going to figure it out. Now, you know, on the higher time frame, this trend line works. On the lower time frame, you see it doesn't lay right, but I would leave it as is, because on the higher time frame, we understand what this means. Now, what I'm looking for on this chart is it seems that price is at a low, right? We're at a weekly and a 4-hour support level. Price has broken above that weekly and now has come back to this 4-hour level. So it's my thought process. We have a higher low that price is probably starting to move to the upside, which to me means a potential retracement. So looking at this on the 4-hour, and actually I'm going to get rid of this trend line because it's distracting what I'm seeing. So I'm clicking on this candle and the high is 652, right? And the 38.2 is 694. So we have a shallow retracement here. We have a setup coming where majority of the time when we see like shallow retracements like this, price tends to pull back to a higher place before making a continuation to the downside. So what I anticipate that I will likely see, and notice I said anticipate, I don't know, but based on what I know about how price moves, is that we're probably going to see some sort of movement like this. Now, you can trade this move and trade the move to the downside, or you could just wait for the downside. But on a conservative level, we only trade to the 38.2 because price what we could see is we could see price drop off from this level to go down to its D extension in this sequence to 7.7, right? We could see that. Or it could move up to the 6.18, but looking at daily structure, looking at daily resistance, I could see like a spike up and then a move to the downside. So to the upside, that would be 70 pips. To the downside, if price reacted at this daily level, this daily zone, let me zoom out. Bear with me, y'all. Okay, from the 38.2, and this is on the 4-hour, from the 38.2, this is 7.7, and that's 260 pips. If you were looking for something on a higher time frame, you would just base it off the fib that you put here. So on the higher time frame, this is still the 38.2, but your take profit is just a little bit longer ways away. So this would be 330 pips. But I think what we're going to see is a bigger move to the downside. That's what I think. But I'm going to base this off the 4-hour and set it up for there. So you have a move to the upside of 70 something potential pips, and then you have a move for the downside. What I would likely wait on, I like the longer term moves, so I'm going to wait for the sell setup. And I would anticipate seeing something around this 179 level. What I would do though is I would make my stop loss a little bit larger. I would decrease my lot size. And I would, how many pips is this though? Hold on. I don't know if I would go that big. Oh yeah, I would. 68 pips. I would. And then I let it rip. So let me bring this down. Okay, so that's 177. So in a 4-hour, that should take profit. If you're riding it from the higher time frame, you of course have about 100 or 70 more pips to go. Let me change this to green. All right. So this is what I would be looking for. And if this setup happens this way, what I would be risking is about 68 pips in order to gain 256. And so this is more than 3-1, I believe. Just a little bit more than 3-1. This is what I would wait for. Now, you can trade the move to the upside. I just like longer term moves. So what I would do is I would set a limit around this zone, this 1797 area, and then let it take from here. But looking at this area, like looking at this level right here, right? I would anticipate that price is coming somewhere near this green zone, this 180 level, before it makes a continuation to the downside. So, yeah, I mean, looking at this action from, I think this started on the 1st, prices moved a total of about 319 pips to the downside. We broken through a key level, which was right around that 1.8 level. I'd be looking for price to come back up and test this green zone before we make a continuation down. And then honestly, looking at the fact that we've got weekly support right here, if we break through this weekly support, I anticipate that we're going to be continuing moving down for some time before we see price start to move to the upside. So that's my take on Euro NZD. Let me know what you guys think. How are you playing this pair? Don't sleep on Euro NZD. I know it's not as sexy as the GBP, JPY, USD, JPY, Euro USD, but there is money to be made on this pair. So I hope you guys give it a look, take a look at it, and share with me your thoughts. What do you think? How are you going to play it? And hopefully you can find a way into it. So I appreciate you guys for watching this video. To all the mamas out there, I hope y'all have a phenomenal day. I hope your family is treating you like the queens that you are. We are forever grateful for the roles that you guys play in our lives, and today is your day, and I hope you enjoy it. If this video was helpful to you, consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you know somebody who's struggling to learn how to trade and needs a systematic approach to the market, make sure that you share this with them. And if you're like, Casey, I like the way that you approach the charts, I want to learn how to do this for myself, then make sure you click the link in the video description and you subscribe to the channel. I try to put out videos on a pretty regular basis. So happy Sunday, y'all. Have a phenomenal day, and I will see y'all on the next video. Bye.